I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed. Yeah, you know what that means when you hear that music. Debbie Harry, Blonde, it can only mean one thing. It's a Friday call-in show. That's exactly what it is. I was talking to someone earlier today, a guy that lives right here in town, one Mr. Dave Dolac, Dave the kayaker, as he's known on the internet. I went and met Dave for a coffee, and he goes, "Hey, man, I was driving up to, I don't know where in the hell he was going, but he was driving up to Eastern Seaboard not long ago, and he said, I caught a bunch of your shows, and it seems like you're doing something different on Friday." I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, at first I was like, "Oh, he's getting ready." He goes, "No, I really love what you've done on Friday." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Well, you have people calling in." And I said to him, I said, "You know, Dave, we used to do like an abbreviated version of that on Saturdays where people can call and ask me questions when we used to do 5 shows a week way back in the day. And when I decided to cut it down to 3 shows per week, that's one of the shows that hit the cutting block. It hit the chopping block. And people kept asking me, why can't we do call-ins anymore? And I was like, you know what? Let me start doing it on Fridays. And it's more popular now than it's ever been because it's the people who come on to this show that have the questions that you might have, or they've gone through what you might be going through. And I get to help them with something that they may not understand yet. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win for the podcast, meaning it keeps the show popular and people keep finding it. It's a win-win for the audience because the audience is going, "Oh, wait, those are my questions." And it's a win-win for the people on the show. So there is no downside to it. As a matter of fact, if I had to cut down to 1 show a week, I would get rid of that Anna Vocino in a second. She could take her and her sauce and hit the road. Right now, take your books, get out of here. Everything. I would never do that to Anna. She's like a sister. And if I did that, my mother would disown me. But you understand, as much, this is the 1 show. As a matter of fact, let's say I had to go down on 1 show a week. I would keep the Monday show with Anna. I would can Chris on Wednesday, and then I would bring the call-ins into the Monday show. That's the way I would do it. Don't worry, I'm not doing any of that. We're keeping it at 3 shows. Folks, he's here every week, whether we want him to be or not, and he brings the goods. Please help me welcome one Mr. Chris Shaffer. Yeah. How's it going, Chris?
Well, I mean, I just got fired on air, but other than that,
not yet.
Oh, I got potentially future fired on air. That's better.
You need to watch 2 letters from the alphabet. You need to watch your P's and your Q's. I still don't know what that means. What did that say? Chris, while I'm talking to Shelli here in a minute, I need you to look up what does P's and Q's mean? See, when you're wondering, folks, why I'm up until 2 o'clock in the morning, this is the kind of shit. When everyone else is looking at Instagram and TikTok and the Twitter, pornography, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I'm looking up, I wonder where P's and Q's came from. That's what I do.
There are 4 theories, Vinny.
Oh, there's theories. All right. Okay, Pythagoras, let's see what you got.
I said theory, not theorem. The most common interpretation is it's a prompt way to remember please and thank you. I don't know how you get Q out of thank you, unless that's a weird old English thing, like everything in English. The second theory is that it comes from print shops because P's and Q's are mirror images and very easy to mix up. The third theory is that it was keeping tracks of pints and quarts in English pubs. And the last one is that it's an abbreviation from naval history, where they had to watch their peacoats and cues, which was apparently how they referred to their haircut. None of those make any sense to me.
No, the one that makes the most sense is the pints and quarts. Mind your P's and Q's, right? Pay attention to your pints and quarts or whatever. Yeah, I'll take that one as the one I like. Okay.
Yeah.
I just made an executive decision. I'm going to make another decision here, Chris. She's been sitting here for a minute, so we're going to bring her on. Shelli. Let's welcome Shelli to the show. How are you doing, Pumpkin?
Good. How are you?
I'm not complaining. Not yet.
Yeah. Still cold in Virginia?
Yeah. You know what? I went upstairs just now for a minute and I ran into my beautiful wife. And I said, honey, is it just me? Or does today feel like the coldest day? And by the way, it's not like it, I went out, as I mentioned, I went to have coffee with a buddy. And my car said 27. But it felt like it was in the teens. It felt colder than the days when it was in the teens. And it might be because the wind is whipping out there. So when you got 27 and whipping winds, but then, my fireplace went out while I was out having said coffee. Down here, I keep a fireplace going in my office at all times. I'm kind of like the Waltons, right? I use wood to keep my area warm down here. Well, that died down I was gone for about 2 hours. I had to go run some errands, and it's Saturday when we're recording this, folks. I had to go to a hardware store and what have you. Can you tell I have my hardware kind of clothes on right now? Plaid shirt, a hat that says Cat Diesel. I've been doing stuff all day and not just taking a coffee break, but I was gone for like 3 hours from my office. I came back and it was like I could have hung meat in here. It was so cold. And of course, when you heat up a fireplace again, it doesn't warm up like with central heat in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So I know when you asked me that question, you wanted me to go, yeah, the weather was nice, but no, I had to tell you.
No, I asked it because I don't know if you remember this, but I'm sure you don't. But 13 years ago, I lived in Richmond for 15 years.
I did not remember that. No, I remember talking to you before, but I did not remember that you lived in Richmond. But go on.
And I also had a wood burning fireplace, and I loved it. I prefer it. And I never turn on my heat because now I'm back in Florida, and I've turned it on once in 13 years. It's never that cold here. You just throw some more clothes on after Virginia,
Braggart. Well, we have 3 fireplaces in this house. And we burn 2 of them all the time. And we burn the 3rd one when it's really cold because you don't want to draw the heat out of one room into a cold space.
Right.
And our guy knows, like the first year we moved into this house, we found this guy. When he brings a cord of wood over, it's like a quart and a half, like more than a quart and a quarter. It's a lot of wood. Mm-hmm. And then we called him about a month later and says, hey, can you bring more, he brings him about a dump truck loads and just dumps them and I'll stack it. And he goes, what happened to all that wood? You loan out something, give it to your neighbors? I went, no, we went through it. He went, really? Oh, yeah. And I said, we keep at least 2 fireplaces going all the time, morning until night. And he goes, wow. So we do 3.5, 4 cords of wood, and that's like 5 for anyone else. Every winter, it's cheaper to do that than to run. I'm kind of a tightwad. I grew up, pretty much broke, and I don't believe in just running. Now we run the AC. When I said AC, we run the heat on top of that.
Right.
I couldn't imagine what it would cost to heat this house.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I don't know if I'll make that kind of money.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I'm a tightwad too.
Yeah, it's good. That's
I
a good
want to
one.
spend. I don't want to spend money on stuff I don't want to spend money on. It seems frivolous.
It doesn't seem frivolous, Shelli. It is frivolous. I don't mind, I'm a big believer that you buy cheap, you buy twice. So you always buy the quality thing,
Right.
right? I jokingly always say, if you see anyone driving anything other than a Honda or a Toyota, they made a mistake, right?
Honda.
Toyota. We have, actually, we have 2 Toyotas and a Subaru. And you go, oh, Mr. Rich Guy. No, one of the Toyotas, our newest car is almost 6 years old.
Yeah.
Our oldest car is 15 years old. It's like we just don't sell them, right? And we still drive them all. We use them all. And when I see anyone driving anything else, it's like, oh, you're capable of making mistakes, right? Now, folks, I get it. You want your BMWs, you want your Porsches, this kind of thing. I get it. You want your truck, and Toyota makes a full size truck, and I get it if you need a like a 1-ton pickup or whatever. Toyota doesn't make that. But that's the thing. You'll see people driving these big shiny, Ram 2500s with a diesel engine, and they never put anything in the bag. They're not pulling anything, not doing anything.
Yeah.
Again, bad decision. People make bad decisions, Shelli.
I know.
Not me and you.
Right. Hey,
Yeah.
I bought a Jaspr.
You did. What do you think? Give me your
I love
honest
it.
opinion.
I love it. I have a small place, 1,100 square feet, and I'm kind of outside of the box thinker. So and I love plants. So I bought one of those plastic things with wheels on it and put my Jaspr on it and move it from room to room.
That's a great idea. As a matter of fact, that's such a good idea. I'm going to mention that to Mike, the guy that owns Jaspr.
Yeah.
And say, hey, dude, you guys should make a Jaspr like a either put it. Well, it would be a lot to put it on the thing because of the way the thing slips off and the whole thing.
Yeah.
But they should make a coaster for the Jaspr.
Yeah.
You just came up with a great idea.
I know, and I did it myself. I just cut it out, took an X-Acto knife because they're plastic. I ordered them on Amazon, and then because I kept picking it up, and it's not that heavy. It's just awkward to carry around. So then I thought, why don't I just get a plant, wheels for a plant like I do outside? And so I did it, and I've been moving it around from room to room, and it rarely falls off. I just kind of have to hold on to it, but then I can bring it in each room.
They can make it to work on the bottom of that thing. I never move mine. I just keep it right here in my office. It takes care, as you know.
Yes.
You don't realize, it's a funny thing. You don't know what you don't have until you don't have it.
Right.
Right. And what part of Florida do you live in, Shelli?
It's Central Coast. It's near St. Petersburg, across the bridge from Tampa.
I know where you are. So, all right. Certain time of the year, you guys have more allergy stuff in the air, more pollen in the air.
Right.
There's always mold spores down there because it's damp.
Yeah.
Right.
And the real reason I bought it is because I just moved back in to my house that got hit by the hurricane 15 months ago, 16 months ago. So it had to be completely gutted and rebuilt. And I thought, with all that new material in here, I don't want all those VOCs and all the other things that I don't even know about.
Yeah.
With all the new drywall and everything.
Listen, it's a great thing to have. I feel like we just did a 10-minute Jaspr ad, but I'm glad that I'm shocked at how many of those things we've sold. It turns out I'm now the biggest Jaspr salesman. I just thought, hey, my audience might want to pick up a few of these, and they gave me this incredible discount.
Yeah.
And then they finally called. You probably heard the podcast. They called and said, hey, we can't keep doing the
It's a lost leader. Yeah.
And I even said to him, I said, look, there might be a couple of stragglers that wanted to get it. Can you give me a better discount than what you guys are doing on the site? They said, how does 300 sound? We need to make something of these things. And I was like, well, I said to him, I said, Mike, I don't think I'm going to sell any, but if there's a couple of stragglers out there that wanted it, but they couldn't, maybe they spent too much money at Christmas and the whole thing. They were just waiting a minute. Let's help those guys out. Turns out we're now selling more at $300.
Really?
And by the way, we started selling these things during Black Friday. we're now outpacing that at a smaller discount. That's how much people are loving these. And I think Chris can tell. Chris, jump in here if you can. I don't know if you know this certainly or not. I think a lot of the people that bought one or two at the $400 discount, they're coming back in and buying a couple of more. So we see a lot of that repeat business. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
That's great.
Yeah. People who are listening to this podcast are buying so many that they had to put an almost out of stock warning on their website.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, from the time of recording this, it's going to be about 6 weeks till they get the new inventory. So if you're looking for one and you've been on the fence about it, you should probably go grab it.
Yeah, because I don't know if they're going to keep this discount going after this period. And we're halfway through this period. So let's just call this the Jaspr ad, folks. Jaspr.co/Vinnie, jaspr.co/Vinnie. There, we just did an ad. So you guys go get it. You'll save $300. I'm trying to remember life before the Jaspr, and it's kind of weird, right? Yeah. So Shelli, I'm sure you didn't call to talk to us about someone else's product, but there you have it.
No, I love it. I mean, I also buy Villa Capelli. I not only did I move back in my hurricane home, but I also retired at the same time, almost exactly. So now,
Wow.
Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to Italy. I'm going to go and stay at the villa. Where
You know
Villa
what?
Capelli is.
You're getting ready to do something that I've never done. Anna loves it there. Anna's family's from Puglia. So
Yeah.
when she goes there, she feels a kinship.
Yeah.
She actually has family there and everything. And she stays at the villa. So, you know what, Shelli? Once you do that, you need to come back on the show
Okay.
and tell us what it was like.
Yeah, I will. I love it. I can't wait. Well, I had a friend that was waiting to travel with me, and she said, "You want to go?" She wanted to go to Italy, and I said, "Well, I also want to go to Italy." But then I started thinking and started looking at actually, the whole situation and where we could go, and it's just all overwhelming if you've never been. And then I said, well, I asked my friend, did she want to go there? And she looked at it, and they do all kinds of tours from there. In fact, they take care of everything. We're doing an inclusive trip, and it's like $3,000, which is cheaper than the trip I was looking at to go to Mexico with my yoga group. So
you cannot do, well, maybe you can because you live in Florida. You can't do 3,000 to Disney World.
oh yeah, I know. It's
You
ridiculous.
can't. I mean,
That's just the churro budget. That's like a Dole Whip, a churro, and a drink.
Yeah. It's funny that you know exactly everything they sell, Chris, over at Disney.
That's funny.
I have nephews.
A churro, a whip, and a what?
So the two things that they are famous for food wise are their churros, which are apparently really good, and the Dole Whip, the pineapple
What's a Dole
soft
Whip?
serve.
I don't even know what that is.
It's Dole pineapple. I think it started outside of the Tiki Room, but it's like a soft serve ice cream, dairy free soft serve ice cream. Basically just blended pineapple, as far as I know.
So it's a pineapple shake?
No, it's soft serve. So
But I
it
thought
comes
you
out
said
like
they
soft
whipped it
serve
up.
ice cream.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll never have one, so that sounds actually pretty damn good.
We'll put
to
some
be
Dole Whip on top of your pina colada when you finally get that.
I thought he was
I still haven't had that. I promise, folks, look, next year when I go, because I'm going back to Barbados, I've figured out that that's my happy place. And I'm going to have one next year. I even though I gave up alcohol, I will have that one beverage. I will at least taste it while I'm there.
You know what? I'm not doing alcohol either. I'm just turned 67 in September, and I feel so tired a couple of days after I drink, and I don't drink a lot, like a glass of wine or maybe 2 margaritas at the most. 2 drinks total anytime I drink. But even if I drink and don't drink for months, or I don't know, it just doesn't do well for me anymore. It's not worth it. I feel tired. I feel really tired for a few days. It takes my body a lot longer to recoup from it.
Shelli, when's your birthday?
September 14th.
You're close to Serena. She's the 21st.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris, yours is the what?
16th.
Yeah. You're right next to Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We know what our parents were up to going into the holidays.
Nothing to do in Pennsylvania in January. That's all I can say.
Well, the fortune that you mean nothing to do in December, Chris. Do the math.
Yeah, I like to pretend I was a Christmas or New Year's baby. You know?
Okay, knock yourself out. I'm not a teetotaler, but I would try to pretend to have a drink every week, and then I wouldn't even do that. And then my neighbor right behind me, Rob, he came over one day with a tumbler of something. And I was like, so I can be like a guy here, have a drink. So I tried to have a drink once a week and all that. And my body just, for lack of anything else, just started rejecting it. It just bottom line, when I say, and you go, what do you mean? It's like, I would take a sip, the first sip, and like my brain I would just get a headache. I just start feeling a headache coming on. By the end of the drink, I would feel nauseous, and it's not a stiff drink, right? Most people would say, oh, what did you have, 3 or 4? No. Halfway through one drink, just sipping it slowly, I would go, I feel disoriented. My body doesn't want this. I think it really started happening more after my last round of chemo. Because, look, the drugs change you every single time. And going through chemo or something, or maybe the last time I went through my cancer thing again, ever since then, and then, my rule, the Kristen Scott Thomas rule, I was there for Christmas, and boy, they had some good wine. Just the first sip, it was like any other alcohol. It was like, I told myself, like one night I said, come New Year's Day, I'm not going to have another sip. And then the next day at lunch, they poured something really nice from the Bordeaux region of blah, 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 blah. I took a sip, and I said to my other sister-in-law next to me, I said, would you like the rest of this? Because don't pour one, just take this one. And that was that. I haven't had a drink since, I don't know, the 24th of December.
Yeah.
No more headaches.
Yeah.
No more nothing. It's just, I feel brand new now.
Yeah.
So congratulations. And I don't know if I'm going to ever go back to it. I might have to try the pina colada thing.
Yeah.
See what happens. But that's it.
Just to say you did it. Just to say you did the pina colada in Barbados.
Well, I've been yapping about it on the show for so long. Right? At some point, I got to taste it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure I won't finish it because it looks disgusting.
Hey, I know that I'm only scratching the surface because have been listening to you for 3 years now. I'm an original Roby. But I have a friend that I was explaining to her what I'd gone through on my fitness journey. And she goes, would you help me with mine? Because she's kind of like where I was 10 years ago. And I said, sure. So I am baby counseling her, just as a friend, like more of like encouraging. And the first thing I did was I gave her some of your podcasts to listen to. I go, here's your homework. We haven't met yet. Here's your homework. So she started, and she's doing really well so far. And she's eating no sugar, no grains. But of course, she's stumbling, like we all do. And I said, well, you just forgive yourself and move on, get right back on it. That's the big thing. So we're meeting every couple of weeks. And I told you I should work for you. I told you this last. I love doing it.
I love that you guys are out there doing this. Hell, I wish we could. Chris, can we pay her? Can we send her like $1 a month or something? Hey, don't laugh. I saw a
Consider it
commercial
that.
the other day. If I spend $1 a month, some kid in some foreign country can eat for a year. At
Wow.
least that's what those ads said.
Wow. You don't need to pay me $1 a month.
13 cents a day. And yeah.
But are they eating NSNG? That's the question.
Yeah.
For $1 a
Probably
day.
not. I think they're giving them gruel or something.
It's a new Wednesday show episode, how to eat NSNG for $1 a day.
Yeah. I saw where one guy, Chris, we should probably get him on the show. This guy, Chef Gruel. Do you know who this guy is?
Chef Andrew, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he, like, someone was saying something about, hey, they're saying we should eat more meat. There's no way I can, and there's, and RFK said $15 a day. There's no effing way. And then I saw this guy Gruel, and he said, oh yeah, here's a meal, eating meat and eating all the good stuff. And the first one he brought in for like under $14 a day, something like that. And it included desserts in there, like ice cream and stuff, right? Now, I'm telling my audience that's probably not the thing you want to eat if you're trying to lose a couple of pounds. And then people went, okay, yeah, you figured out one meal. I'm supposed to eat that one meal. Because, these are the things that pop up on my screen. Anything to do with diet will show up on my screen. So the next day, or a couple of days later, I guess this Gruel guy, Andrew, he says, here's and completely different from the first thing, including meat and this and that whole thing, and dessert. He's now done, I want to say I've probably seen 10 or 12 of them. Chris, can you go look him up and see? Let's give this guy a little credit. I don't know much about him. I know he's a chef out there, and I see his stuff from time to time. But he started going, yeah. You can feed people on $15 a day, right? Which I thought was a very interesting thing. And he's a big time chef. So, Chris, while I'm talking to Shelli, before we bring Nora on, I'd like to see what Gruel is up to. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Does that work?
Yeah. What do you want me to find from him?
I saw him on Twitter. So he did a bunch of recipes. Like someone was going, you can't eat the way they want us to eat now. Meat is too expensive. And this Andrew Gruel figured out a bunch of different recipes. Right. And someone, one of the comments I saw was one of his recipes was $15.02. And he goes, aha. So you can't do it for 15. It's like, shut the F up. Really? 2 cents? That's where you draw the line?
Yeah.
All right. So Chris, look up some of the recipes he pulled together while I'm talking to Shelli. Now don't bother us. We're having fun, me and Shelli.
So the girl that I'm, coaching, I told her, I said, it helps me too. It helps. We're holding each other accountable. And what's really ironic is we're meeting. The first time we met at Mazzaro's, which is all like, God, that's crazy bakery in there and a wine store and all this stuff. I said, well, we can't eat anything here, but we just stopped and had a coffee, and it's going really well. And then today I do, I told you this before, you probably don't remember, but I do hot yoga 3 times a week consistently. And it's a hard ass workout. I mean, it's really good, like 10 chaturangas in a row. I mean, they don't, and some are a little easier. There's one guy that's really hard. I like to take him once a week. And she just expressed to me today before we got on the podcast, as a matter of fact, that she wants to try my yoga. I mean, that's just going to help her so tremendously in so many ways, So
the most important thing you said there, Shelli, is, it's almost like AA.
Mm-hmm.
When you help someone else, you're literally helping yourself even more.
Yes.
People say to me all the time, it's like, well, it's easy for you to stay in shape. You've been doing it your whole life. And it's like, you don't think this gets boring after a while?
Yeah.
I'll be the first to admit it gets boring. But because I talk to people every day and I get excited about what they're doing, it keeps me motivated to do what I do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's key. You're actually helping you
Mhm.
more than you're helping her.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
No, I love hearing that.
And then, of course, I'm always doing my NSNG, trying my very best. And she's brand new at it. So trying to give her the tips, you know, and the nuts and what nuts to eat and what not to eat and all the stuff that I've learned in the last 3 years. And I read all the time. In fact, I did that Quit Sugar Summit that Anna was on.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. They sent me an email for it. I figured because I was affiliated with you that they got my email. It was good. There had like 60 different luminaries basically on it speaking, and I listened to them over and over and over again several times. But Anna was on it. It was really cool to see her and hear her story on another, you know, platform.
Yeah. Yeah. I know she's done that a couple of times, and I'm glad that they're still out there doing that. They just had one recently, right?
Yes, a couple weeks ago. And they also have a program, and I thought about you when, you know, they're very good with sending out emails. They're like over communicators, which is good for them, but they actually want you to buy all of that information for like $100, and then you can access it anytime you want. But in addition to that, they have counselors that you can get certified to be a no sugar counselor, but they openly say it's thousands of dollars.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of all that. They're scamming. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people do that. They're trying to figure out, and I told that to Anna. I'm just going to be honest with you. Anna doesn't have any affiliation to it other than she goes on to try to help people at the summit, because the summit's free, right? Or do they charge you guys for that? Yeah, it's like the freemium thing. Come in for free. Oh, wait, you actually want to learn something? Pay us thousands of bucks, and we're going to give you someone. Oh no, they're not an expert. They're just someone who we just deemed a coach. And a lot of people are doing that. I'm not going to name names, but I can sit here and name names for the next hour.
But you know what? You know what, Vinnie, about that is my first thing was, well, I could do that, but here's the problem. People don't know that they need to quit sugar. You know, they don't realize that pasta is sugar. They don't even know that much. So you're not, by putting that moniker behind your name, I'm a no sugar expert or whatever, nobody's going to want to come and get your counseling. It's better just to say, oh, I'll help you out for free. Let's go walk together, or let's talk about no sugar, no grains. And I like that approach better, you know, because it has you. When you say quit sugar, they think you want, you know, they're thinking that you're going to want to be perfect about it, and you're in reality. And so I like your approach so much better. And who has thousands and thousands? But like I said, even if you had that title, I don't think people would even come to you because they don't know. They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, look, a long time ago, and a lot of times over the years, and Chris can chime in and tell you the same thing. The number of people that have come to us and said, okay, with your audience, if you just stop this freemium, we call it freemium, it's a free premium thing where we give it all away for free. Yeah. You know, I'm happy when people buy a Jaspr or buy Villa Capelli or whatever, because I'm able to pay the people that work in the backgrounds here. Leona, Debbie, Chris, everybody that works here gets a check. Anna. So that's all good. Right. But people, do you realize you could be a millionaire 20 times over with your audience if only 10% of those people? Chris, how many times does that come up? Please back me up on this, so it doesn't sound like I'm making this shit up.
2 or 3 times a month, if not more.
Yeah.
And that's just the random emails I have access to. That's not your, like, the main inbox for the podcast.
And all of it is the same thing. Well, and I'll go, because, hey, I'm interested in making an extra $1 million a month. That's what they're talking about, by the way, $1 million a month. Okay, I'll make $1 million a month. Oh, that sounds good to me. 12 million a year. By the time I die, I'll be richer than Thurston Howell III. Right? I sit there and do that math, right? And then I'll go, okay, how does this work? Well, you would get all of these people to now become your disciples, and they're going to do your bidding for you. And then they're going to get people. It's like, oh, so you want me to do a pyramid scheme?
Mhm.
When I was in college, they used to call it airplane. Remember airplane, Shelli?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think you're a few years younger than me, but
Yeah.
remember airplane?
No, I'm older than you. Yeah.
You're older
Yeah.
than me?
Yeah, I'm 67.
You don't look it. Jesus Christ. You're winning.
That's the
by the
only
way.
that's the only reason I come on the show, just to hear that.
You're winning. So, no, there was a game in college.
Uh-huh.
They called it airplane. It's like, okay, the people who creates the game, they become the captain and the co-captain to let people know how it works. And then back then we used to call them stewardesses. So then you bring in a bunch of stewards and stewardesses behind you. So in order to get into the game, the captain and co-captain, they don't put anything in. Well, the captain puts nothing in, but the co-captain gives the captain $50, right? But now the co-captain goes out and gets two people under him known as stewards or stewardesses. Let's call them flight attendants.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys want to be in the game? Yeah. Okay, kick me up $50. So X amount goes to the co-captain, and then the captain gets the rest. Hey, you guys, you want to be in the game? Yeah. Go get two more people, and let's call or four people, and let's call them first class. How much? $50. Now you got all that money kicking up, and it goes up to the captain. And then at a certain point, then you have first class, then you have second class, and then, the people in the back. And now you have the whole plane filled, right? And the captain keeps getting kicked up money, right? A lot of money. When you start doing the math, $50 becomes thousands of dollars really fast. So the captain gets out. But what happens is now the co-captain moves up to captain, right? Once you have X number of people filling up the plane,
Right.
now he's the captain, and the two people that were down here, they keep moving up, right? But what happens is everybody runs out of friends pretty quickly, right? Now everyone, they've put all this money in to be in the game, and all they have to do is go find X number of people, and they got to find X number of people. That's a pyramid scheme.
Mhm.
Would you think I would still be here? I probably started doing this in 2011. It's 2026.
Yeah.
You think I would be here if this was a pyramid scheme?
No.
I could have walked away with money, but hell, we're seeing people right now that walked away with a lot of money, and now they're having trouble out there, Peter, to you. You see what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Or you can stay here and help people and go, what, the hell with money. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do here, Shelli.
I love it.
We're not trying to quit sugar on the summit. We're not trying to do. If people just go to Amazon and buy stuff and put my name in, thank you. People want to buy VinnieTortorich.com/workout. Thank you. We could keep it rolling. We don't have to become millionaires here.
Yeah.
We can become thousandaires, and we're happy.
That's right.
Right?
I love it.
I grew up poor. I'm not going to die rich.
Yeah, me neither.
It's fine with me.
Yeah, same here.
But we will go to Italy. That's for damn sure.
Yes.
But Shelli, thank you for being here today. It's always a pleasure. Your smile puts a smile on my face, even though it never looks like I'm smiling. Inside, deep inside, I'm smiling, folks. There you go, Miss Shelli. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
There she goes, folks. Miss Shelli. Yeah. Chris.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to bring Nora up, but did you find any of Chef Gruel's foods?
I found a bunch of places where he talked about it, but it looks like, at least with the random Twitter search that I've done in the last few minutes, he's only posted 2 or 3.
But he's done 2 or 3. I saw more than that. It must have been on Instagram or somewhere. I saw it somewhere.
He talked about it on the Corolla show as well.
I haven't heard that show. in a while. I love Adam's a good friend of mine, and folks, great show. I listen to it every day, but I'm running a company. Hell, how many companies do I run, Chris?
4?
4. I run 4. I'm what you would call a muckety muck.
You're
4
a mogul.
companies. Jesus Christ! What? I should be rich. Why am I not rich, Chris?
My
What
fault.
the hell, folks? Without any further ado, Chris, let me bring in Nora. Nora, there she is.
Hey, Vinnie.
How you doing?
Can you hear me okay?
Nora, good. Hang on, Chris. Chris, do you have at least one of his recipes? One of his daily what you can eat?
Let me see if I can find it again. The biggest one was on his Substack. Here it is. And he has a couple things, like stop buying jarred tomato sauce unless it's from Eat Happy.
Yeah.
I think it was so his big thing, Vinny, is under $5 a serving, right? So $15 a day. So chicken sausage with braised chicken thighs, beginner soup, $5 and under chili, bacon braised turkey and tangy winter cabbage. And then he just put an article up on his Substack this morning called "The Super Bowl Shouldn't Cost a Car Payment," and it's all about how to make your Super Bowl food for just a couple bucks.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm doing? I'm doing Anavicino chicken wings, and Serena's also made a chili for me. So, yeah. And by the way, folks, we're talking about this because it's Saturday, Super Bowl's tomorrow, and this show is coming out probably in 3 weeks. But Chris, thanks for pulling that up. I would love to keep chatting with you, but Miss Nora is in the house. How you doing, Nora?
Good. How are you, Vinnie?
I couldn't be better if I tried. I really couldn't.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Dare I say this? I've been listening to you and Chris for a long time on audio. So if I can say, you look better than your voices sound. So I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I'm very surprised.
I'll take it.
Actually, seeing you on video. I joined the VIP group earlier last month. So I'm adjusting to no sugar, no grain. And I saw the opportunity to join this morning and thought I would love to talk to you because going through this, I'm 10 days, 100% on NSNG.
Nice.
And I have a lot of questions. It's not my first nutrition program or even fitness program, but I tend to get lazy. And I know I shared on my post that, let's see, about 4 years ago, I think, right before my 50th birthday, I had a friend connect me to coaching, right? So she was a coach and I did a different program and had success, got to a goal weight far lower than I expected. But since in maintaining, I've gained 40 pounds and that's what scares me. It's I know I can lose the weight, but I want to be able to maintain. So doing NSNG, I'm, a little concerned if I'm eating enough, not eating enough, will this work, right? So I've been considering scheduling a consultation with you, but this opportunity is wonderful. So
yeah, this is a hell of a lot cheaper than a consult.
Agree.
So, all right. So a lot of things there. Yeah, no one comes in here on a winning streak, right? That's number one. No one comes in, hey, I'm in perfect shape. Let me see what you're offering. And you said you were 50 a few years ago. So you said it was 4 years ago. So I'm doing the math, carried away. You're 54 now.
Yep.
Again,
Yep.
Just like Shelli, who said she was 67 and she looks younger than me. You look like a baby to me. I can't believe that you're 54. NFL football players look like babies to me now. It's like when you get to a certain age, everyone looks young.
Yeah.
So good on you for that. But usually, by the time people find me in their life, they've been dieting. It's sometimes I tear up. I know I don't look like the type of guy that would tear up a lot, but I do. When people say I started my first diet when I was 6. You hear that kind of thing. Or my mom was this tyrannical person who had me dieting by the time I was 12, and she told me no guy would ever like me. You know, I was like, what happens to women with parents and everything else? It's crazy, but women go through a lot of diets in their life. And they start every diet with a lot of hope, and then they end up in a lot of despair. Right?
Yep.
So I get where you are, right? Usually, I'm not going to even ask you which diet it was, unless you want to tell me, but the one where you lost all the weight.
Yep.
Did you lose the weight fast?
Sort of. I lost over 70 pounds. It took the first probably 50 came off pretty quickly, probably within 6 months or so. Got to my goal weight probably took about 14 months because it was a lot of kind of that game playing, right? There was kind of a strict, and it was food purchase, that sort of thing. And then I would make one meal, right? So, it's that sort of thing. I don't want to give the name because I know it's changed a lot of people's lives, right? And I'm not it.
And look, I mean, I know which one you're talking about. You gave it away to me, and I won't put it out there. But, it's a white knuckling program. I call that a white knuckle program. How tall are you, Nora? If you don't mind me asking.
5'5".
Okay.
5'5".
So yeah, losing that first 50 pounds in 6 months, almost 10 pounds a month. That's a lot. And you can do that in a white knuckle program. You can. Because basically it's starvation, right? You're starving yourself, and then, hey, you can save up all of your numbers and everything you want and have yourself a Snickers bar at night, right? You start with the diet trickery and everything else. And you did what most people do. You white knuckled it for 14 months. And it sounds like you got down to a goal weight.
Yep.
And then once you got there, the very next day, you started going in the other direction.
Yeah, they had a plan for maintaining, but it is that total energy expenditure. And so it was figure out your number, download an app, whatever you want, figure eat in this calorie range. And personally, it caused me a lot of anxiety. I mean, and it's, I shouldn't say anxiety. It's a lot of work, to try to track what you eat and write it down. And geez, the numbers are horrible. So listening to you for many years via podcasts, NSG and what you say, I really like. It's shaking those fears, right? Of, I think my first couple of days, I was trying to decide how many eggs I could eat for breakfast on NSNG. Is 2 okay? Could I do 3? Calculating 80 calories, 8 grams of protein, coming up with a number and pushing that aside. Those thoughts still creep in my head. So recently, as I continue, I feel good. I haven't lost any weight yet. In these last 10 days, I've stayed the same, but I don't feel bloated. I don't feel icky, right? Because I think this is a better way of eating. I'm just, how do we, and I think like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I think, am I hungry? Do I need to eat more? Do I not need to eat more? How would you suggest working?
Okay. So there's a mouthful here.
Oh,
No pun intended.
I agree.
All right. So, I don't believe in counting calories. I don't believe in even talking about calories because calories, and hear what I'm saying here, audience and Nora, hear what I'm saying. Calories don't matter.
Yeah.
but they do. When you're doing a white knuckle program, basically you're starving yourself. You're doing a calorie in, calorie out proposition. And that's an incredibly fast way to lose weight. Unfortunately, it doesn't teach you what to do once that stops. Right? You only know what to do while you're doing the program. And then they kind of leave you hanging. That program used to leave you hanging altogether. And then you would gain the weight back and they would go, hey, sign up again, pay us again. You can lose the weight again. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but that company knows that their success rate is a plus or minus 2% off of zero, meaning that almost no one succeeds. Almost no one ever. Right? And is diet trickery. People are, your whole life is around diet. You shouldn't be thinking about diet. There's so many things in the world to enjoy and to think about, and you should be enjoying your food and not thinking, oh my God, should I have a third egg? Is that third egg going to, what am I doing? When you think about the absurdity of it, right? It's a little crazy, right? So I'm going to get back to why calories are, because I don't want people to count calories anymore. I don't want you to have to eat a piece of protein the size of your fist. And I don't want you to, worry about this and that, a minute on the lips and then a lifetime on the hips. All this bullshit stuff that you've been hearing your whole life. None of it matters, right? And I like for people to understand non-scale victories, right? So if you looked at your blood work the day before you started this 10 days ago, and if you were eating a lot of sugar, a lot of grains, a lot of pasta, breads, what have you, your triglycerides might have been. Do you know what your triglycerides were on your last?
No,
blood?
I haven't had any blood tests done for a year.
Okay, so if you look at those numbers, I'm going to make up numbers for you. Right? Let's say your triglycerides were between 150 and 200. Right? They'll tell you, 120 and 130, that's normal. That's bullshit, right? Because triglycerides should ride somewhere between 40 and 60 tops. And you could get I've had people with triglycerides of 400 and 500 come down to 150 within a few weeks, and then go down below 100 a few weeks after that. Right? And triglycerides, the way a triglyceride is created, it's a fat lipid that comes when your body turns a carbohydrate into a long chain triglyceride and stores it as a fat, because we can't store carbohydrates. Right? We can turn it into blood sugar. It can be in your blood. It can be in your liver. It could be in your muscles, but that fills up pretty fast. Now you have all of this extra stuff. Your body magically turns it into a long chain triglyceride, stores it as a fat. And by the way, those are the worst fats to have, because those are the ones that can cause heart disease. Those are the ones that cause mortality to go up, right? But no one talks about those because they can't come up with a drug for a triglyceride. See, the only way to lower your triglycerides is to not eat what causes high triglycerides. Right?
Yeah.
So since they don't have a drug for that, they're not going to tell you about it. But boy, they'll tell you about a statin because they came up with a drug for that one.
Yeah.
Right? As a matter of fact, statins don't really do much except lower your LDL. So they turn that into the bad cholesterol.
Okay.
When in fact you need all cholesterol to live. But they don't tell you that part, because their amazing drug doesn't lower all of them. It might lower HDL a little bit, but it mostly works on LDL. So, hey, we're going to call that one the bad. That's the bad one, right? But it's not.
Okay.
Right? So you have to look at that as a non-scale victory, lowering your blood sugar, right?
Yeah.
Lowering your blood sugar where, you want to get it in the high 80s or the 90s. And that can take a lot longer because your body has to get used to that, right? So by cutting out all sugar and all grains, you'll notice that instead of waking up in the morning with a blood sugar of 120 or 125 or 150, I've seen it all over the place. You'll notice that the fluctuation gets closer and closer, and it goes down a little bit, and a little more, and a little more. And before you know it, you might have a dawn effect in the morning, and you might be at 105 or 110. But you'll notice that if you checked again at noontime or something, you could be somewhere around 85 or 90. Or you could get a CGM machine or device, put it in your arm and Bluetooth it and look at it on one of these things. I'm holding up a cell phone for everyone else, folks. So those are non-scale victories.
Yep.
Another non-scale victory is you didn't gain weight. Right? You didn't lose any weight, but you didn't gain weight.
Exactly.
Okay. The next thing is, remember I said calories don't matter.
Yeah.
At first, I tell everyone, when you first get into this, you see everybody wants to see that quick weight loss because the magazines told you so. Remember back in the days when magazines existed?
Yes.
Hey, Nora, you can lose 10 pounds in 10 days. Get a beach body by the weekend. Abs of steel.
Yeah.
Right? 3 weeks to perfect abs for the beach. Right? Buns of steel. You can have your ass look like someone cut a bowling ball in half and stuck it to your backside in no time. Right?
Yep.
Okay. They've convinced us that you could get fit in a week. If that was true, everyone would just be fit.
Yeah.
But in fact, no one is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the non-scale victories come first.
Okay.
I tell people who are struggling to overeat the right things at first.
Okay.
Eat all of the saturated fat you want. Eat all of the steak you want. Take in coconut oil. Eat butter. Eat eggs. Eat chicken, fish, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to feel like you're on a tight wire without a net, right? Like, you know, let's say you were up on, you don't know how to tight wire walk, do you? Have you ever been on a tight wire? You've never been on a tight wire.
Oh, tight, right? No, I haven't.
But let's say you were up on a tight wire.
Yep.
And you're balancing along, but there's a net underneath.
Yep.
Right? So you could be a little nonchalant, right? Hey, if I fall, I'm going to fall into this net. It might even be kind of fun, right? I'm going to fly. You know, they say, you know, falling feels like flying until you hit the ground.
Yep.
You ever hear that? Right. So
I think so. Yeah.
You're on a tight wire. It doesn't really matter, right? Because you got a net. So you don't care. But when they pull that net away and you're up there holding that bar going, oh shit, my next step can mean life or death. Right? I don't want you to lose the net at first. You understand? I want you to eat. I want you to eat fats. I want you to eat proteins. See, we can live on fat and proteins. We don't need carbohydrates. You do need fat. You do need protein. You do not need carbohydrates. That's a fact.
Yep.
Okay.
And I've been successful with that, at least these last 10 days. And it's been going good. I mean, I've been listening to you for so long, and I hear you say yourself that to start sugars, anything, you just have to stay away from it. Yeah. So I've been able to be successful with that. And as long as I don't take that first taste, I'm okay. Yeah. You know, so that's helpful. And you mentioned blood sugars. Are you really stating that 80 to 90 should be just kind of a constant throughout the day?
No.
I'm more of a fasting.
I'm glad you brought that up, because people have written to me and think, Vinnie, I have a CGM on my arm, right? Yep. I go, okay, you got a CGM? Yeah. And they'll say, I ate a steak last night and my blood sugar went up to 110 or 120. Yeah, that's what happens. Even when you eat protein or whatever, your blood sugar is supposed to go up. It'll go up slowly and it'll come down. And your body, you know, whenever we eat anything, we have to cover it, right? Your blood sugar is supposed to go up to some degree. Usually with a steak, it doesn't go to 120. It might go to 110, 105, whatever it could be. Fish, what have you. But when you eat a sugar, let's say you ate like a Snickers bar. Now you're going to get a glucose spike. And it'll spike up to like 150, 160, 170, 180, depending on how messed up you are, how your body handles sugars. Right? It's going to go really high. And now your body has to release a ton of insulin to knock that back down. And what it does with sugar, since it spiked so fast, your brain goes, holy shit, what's going on here? Let's release all of this insulin. So it releases so much insulin really fast, it pushes it below where it should be. Now you have a sugar low.
Mm-hmm.
Right now you need to eat something with sugar in it just to get it back up again.
It's a roller coaster.
It's the worst trick, and the whole time you're doing that, you have highs and lows. You feel hungry. You don't feel hungry. Your body's releasing ghrelin and leptin and all these hormones. You see, we don't get fat from anything other than hormones, right? So that's what happens with simple sugar. Now, the dietitians, they will tell you, hey, Nora, those simple carbs, Vinnie's correct. You shouldn't have sugar, shouldn't have table. That's a simple carb. But Nora, let me tell you about these complex carbs. Number one, they're complex. So that must mean that they're good for you because they have a bit of complexity to them, right?
Yeah.
When you eat,
stories we've been told.
they'll even tell you these release slowly from your stomach, not like a simple sugar. And your blood sugar goes up naturally, and your body gets energy from it. And all true, all true. And if you were a triathlete and you happen to be swimming and riding a bike and running all day long, you can probably handle that. Matter of fact, you've seen these people; they eat crap all day long and thin as a rail. Mm-hmm. Some of them can't even keep up with it.
Yeah.
But what happens to Nora and Vinnie and everyone else? When you eat a complex carb, you don't get a glucose spike. You get what's called a glycogen load.
Okay.
So now your blood sugar goes up just like it did with the simple sugar, except instead of it going down really fast from you pummeling it with insulin, it stays up. And it can stay up for hours. And guess what your body has to keep doing? It has to keep releasing insulin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And remember we talked a few minutes ago about, once your body is full of sugar, it's got all the sugar it can use, it's got to now do something with that sugar. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Remember that?
Yes.
That insulin turns it into that long chain triglyceride. That's why and by the way, that triglyceride is circling around in your blood because we can't even get it into a fat cell quick enough. It's just sitting in your blood trying to go, we don't know what to do. And guess what you're doing a couple hours later? You're having yourself more bread, more pasta, more corn, more whatever. And we can't figure out how America got fat.
Yeah.
That's how we got fat, Nora.
Yeah. Yep. I understand. Right. Yeah.
So all you have to do is stay away from those foods and you win. Now you'll go, well, wait a minute. Vinnie says calorie doesn't matter. Now I'm going to change my tune. This is when you could call me a fork-tongued devil. Now at first, you're just trying to get your body and your brain and everything on the same level by eating high fat, high protein.
Yeah.
But you can't do anything with impunity. And this is the part I hear people all the time on the internet going, just eat fat and protein and you'll be fine. Yeah. No. There is something that's too much. Did you know, Nora, that if you drink enough water in one sitting, you can die?
Yes. Yeah. I have heard that.
Hypernatremia, not hypo. Hypernatremia will kill you. Right?
Yes.
Doesn't matter how fit you are, whatever. You'll wash out your electrolytes. You just don't exist. Mm-hmm. So if you can't drink water with impunity, the thing you need more than anything else of in your body's made up of 75, 80% water. Mm-hmm. Something like that. Chris, figure it out. How much water do we have in our body? It's a high number. Yet if you have too much of that, you will kill the one thing that needs all of that water. Your body. You will kill your brain. Mm-hmm. You will cease to exist. What a dumb way to go.
Yeah.
If you're eating too much of a good thing, now your body can't burn all of those calories, right? And your body will start to store it. Now you'll notice that you could get away with a lot more fat calories than you could sugar calories, right? Because it'll hang around before your body will store it. And the other cool thing, remember I mentioned hormones making us fat?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. When we release a lot of insulin to fix a sugar problem, we also start releasing ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin is the hormone that's supposed to make you feel hungry, right?
Okay.
Like,
Yep.
and leptin is the hormone that's supposed to make you feel full, right? And I could get into other hormones, but I'm not, because why? I don't need to brag. You already told me I was good looking, so I'm good. And I'm not really that good looking. It's just that my voice sucks so bad that I look better than my voice. I get it. It wasn't a real compliment. But this is what I'm stuck with. At any rate, the problem is when you get too much ghrelin and too much leptin being released all the time, we become immune to it, right? We get used to it. The example I like to give is let's see here. Hang on. Trying to find. So Chris just sent me this: 50% of water on average. Obese people have less water and are less likely to properly hydrate because the fat doesn't store water. Okay, so your body's made up 50 to 60% water. Now, ghrelin and leptin is where we were, right?
Yep.
You ever drink alcohol?
Not anymore.
Okay, but you did at one time, right?
I did. I did many years ago. Yes.
Okay. Did you drink a lot or just a little bit?
Oh God, a lot, too much.
Okay. So people who drank a lot, let's say you and I went out and had a few beers, right? It would probably take you 5 or 6 beers to feel the same way I felt on one beer, because I didn't build up a tolerance to beer. I don't drink a lot of alcohol back in other words, like you said you don't drink much anymore at all. If you go out and have one drink now, it'll feel like you used to feel on 4 or 5 drinks, right?
Very
You
true.
become immune to it. Your body becomes resistant to it, right? And when your body starts releasing ghrelin and leptin all the time, we become resistant to it, right? So you feel hungry all the time and you feel like you can never get full, right? And we've learned that you have great discipline because you were able to white knuckle it for 13 months and undereat and get to a desired weight.
Yeah.
Now I want you to lose weight by never feeling hungry, never feeling left out. And that's what happens when you cut out all carbs. You can still have vegetables, some broccoli, some cauliflower, this kind of thing. I would stay away from fruit except for olives and avocados.
Okay.
And the occasional tomato in the summer. I know everyone else is going to tell you, oh, they got lectins. Lectins are going to kill you. But every Italian that's living longer than anyone else over in Sardinia. Right. So don't worry about all the BS. When you come here, I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah, true.
All right. Any questions at this point?
No, I mean, no, I agree with what you've said. And I've heard both sides, right? And it's frustrating because, I was type 2 diabetic at one time. I was on insulin with every one of my pregnancies. And I don't ever want to go back. So that's why I'm seeking this out. I don't ever want to go back to, when in 2022, I was type 2 diabetic. And that's when, I had about 10 years of being recommended statins and being recommended, I think very early on, about 15 years ago, I was offered GLP-1s and not knowing what it was and not even being explained to what it was. And I turned it down.
Well, wait, hang on. What were your A1Cs when you were type 2 diabetic?
I've been taking metformin since I was 30. I wasn't diagnosed type 2 diabetic till I was 40. And my on metformin, it would be anywhere between 7 and 8, but that was on metformin. I got off of metformin when I started losing weight within about 3 months.
Yeah,
and
so
my
your A1Cs
was
came
about
into check,
5.2.
right?
Yeah, 5.2.
Yeah, 5.2 is healthy. All right, so you want to tell you what the funny thing is? You mentioned that they also had you on a statin.
I was on one for a very short period of time. I went off
Okay.
of it because I didn't like it. I had side effects.
Yeah, everyone does. So here's the crazy thing. Metformin will artificially lower your A1Cs, artificially.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not real.
Yep.
And people, doctors, I've asked doctors this point blank, and they'll go, well, Vin, people don't want to hear that they have to give up their beloved ice cream and donuts and everything else. So we just put them on metformin. It's like, okay, so you're putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg, number one. And number two, they had you on a statin, which does nothing for your A1Cs.
No.
It just artificially lowers LDLs, period.
Yep.
There's more studies showing that they do more harm than good. But that's neither here nor there. And by the way, I talked to someone the other day on a consult, and I don't give medical advice. And he goes, I have 3 stents in my heart, and I want to go off of my statin. I went, no. Statins are made for you. Once you have hardware in your heart, that's why they invented that drug. See, you've already cashed in your chips. They're just trying to keep you alive, right? You're not there. You don't have hardware in your heart, do you?
No.
No, but they gave you a drug. Well, why didn't they? You should have said, hey, doc, why don't you fix me up with a cast on my left leg?
Yeah.
And you go, well, your leg's not broken. It's like, my heart ain't broken either.
Yeah.
But you're giving me something for my heart. Why don't you just put a cast on both of my arms? It might break them next year.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cholesterol related. But you're right. As soon as I was, they say you have type 2 diabetes, they offer a statin, because they save the risks. So, I have turned down a lot of drugs in many years.
Good.
So, I want to be healthy. I want to be healthy without aids. So without any tools, right? Or whatever they're not tools. They're pharmaceuticals. But yeah, so I appreciate everything you've said. Really my next question is starting to work out, but that might be another call. I have a very supportive husband. He's not following. He may go along with NSNG, but he's not going to do it 100%.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I always tell, couples ask me all the time. Well, half of a couple will ask me on the consult. They'll go,
yeah.
Hey, how do I get my wife on this? How do I get my husband? Now, when husbands ask me, I'll say, do not mention anything to your wife, because anything you say to a wife, she'll go, what, do you think I'm fat? So don't mention that to your wife. Yeah. If you want to stay in a relationship, that's number one.
Yeah.
But when the women ask me, what about my husband? It's like, who does the cooking? They'll go, well, I do. It's like, just start cooking the way you're going to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he still eats Oreos, and this is like, fuck it. You start losing weight, he's going to worry that you're going to start sleeping with the pool boy. Trust me, he'll come around. He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have a pool, Nora?
No, I don't. But, I work from home. I'm always looking for the UPS guy or somebody,
Hey, what can Brown do for you?
Yes. But he and I are trying to spend, starting even 20 minutes a day, just doing some sort of exercise routine. I've done a couple of the first beginner videos where it's just a few exercises. And so that's kind of my next thing, is get into cadence there. I've done a lot of vigorous workouts before, 90-day challenges, this and that, and have had results. but I also get lazy, or I just get not interested.
Nora,
So
do you belong? Wait, do you belong to my VIP group?
I do now. Yeah, I joined in January.
Good, because more people stay on track. Come in and talk to us every 2 weeks in a VIP group,
Yeah.
and just say, hey, look, come up on stage and talk to us in that group, and go, I'm still with my workout.
Okay.
Those I know this sounds stupid and dumb and everything. Those little things, that's staying honest.
Mm-hmm.
Staying honest is what helps people more than anything else. So would you promise me you'll do that?
Yeah, I will. I've joined a couple times and I stay on for a little while.
We're
But
going to keep
I'll
you on this time.
Okay.
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 All right. I got Dave waiting in the wing, so I got to do a quick ad. And I think Dave's just got an update for us. So, but stick around so you can hear Dave's update. I think
All right.
we'll see what's going on with him. But Nora, thanks for being on.
Thanks.
Yeah, there she goes, folks. Villa Capelli olive oil is the best olive oil on the planet. I should have told you guys this earlier in the show because they pay me to. Villa Capelli. Chris, we talked about Jaspr with Shelli, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So, all right, Villa Capelli, promo code Vinnie, VINNIE. Use it. You will save money just by going to Villa Capelli and putting my name in. I use the oil here. You're going to love it. It's the best olive oil on the planet. There's no seed oils in there. It's 100% pure olive oil from Puglia, Italy. Villa Capelli. Let them know we sent you. VINNIE, no wimpy Y, Villa Capelli. We're going to get a quick update here from Dave. Let me see if I can pull Dave up. There he is. Dave, how's it going, man?
Dave can hear you, or Dave can hear me, but not you.
Really?
Dave, do you have just one headphone in?
No, I have both. Can you hear me?
I can hear Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear Dave. Dave, can you hear me?
I can't hear Vinnie at all.
Chris.
Can't hear Mr. Vinnie at all.
You want me to pop out and pop back in? Maybe that'll fix it.
Yeah, we'll do that, Chris. Tell him we'll pop out and pop back in. If not, we'll bring him in next week.
We'll pop out and pop back in.
Yeah, we're going to try that.
Yeah, we'll try that. Interesting people today, Chris. Shelli, she's been in VIP group. Now we got Nora in the VIP group. Nora is everybody. She's every American. I mean, the story she tells, we hear over and over and over again, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's literally the standard American diet story, and calories in, calories out, all that happy stuff.
Doing all the diets, white knuckling it, and then, all that work and all that effort and time, and then ending up right where she was before. Let's try Dave again. Dave, can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, man, how's it going?
All right. We've got back in chemo. We're doing this little pump to carry around for 3 more days.
Yeah.
Good times.
How are you feeling?
Good, actually. Obviously, my throat still hurts. Probably I'm blending up my lunch because I'm eating almost entirely through the feeding tube. It's too painful to eat, and I can't get enough food. I dropped down to 152, and I was around 165. So I started doing the feeding tube, and now I'm back up to close to 160. So that's where they want me to be.
How are your blood numbers, Dave? You're doing good with everything?
Yeah, red and white cell counts are a little low, but that's to be expected with the chemo.
Yeah,
they're not alarmingly low.
What about your
neutrophils? Are good. Neutrophils are normal.
Good. So you're good. But, that's the biggest problem I've always had on chemo is the neutrophils go to crap. And
I'm sorry, I take that back. They're slightly below normal, but they're close.
Yeah, but slightly below normal is fine. When they take a crap and you have none, that's when they start worrying. But how are you feeling overall, man?
Energy is good. I mean, I'm a little tired from time to time. I mean, other than my throat, there's really no pain, no nausea. So, okay. I'd love to start eating by mouth again. I take a few bites here and there, but I can't sustain myself through mouth feeding right now.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So it just all goes into the port. Is that it?
Yeah, pretty much. And that's what this is going to do. And actually, I wanted to talk to you about this. because
Okay.
I got some recommendations from people for this particular brand. I
Right.
use it once a day. This is basically my quick lunch. I'm not
Right.
thrilled with the ingredients. I mean, they're very good. They're better than a lot of the other skip a meal days. But this thing has monk fruit and what else? Something else. It does have Redmond real salts, so good for them. Sunflower lecithin. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
No, sunflower lecithin is fine. It's just a fat lipid. Let me ask this: is it just a protein, or is it protein in other foods? What's is
It's
that?
protein. So it's protein, whey protein, concentrate, grass-fed collagen, egg whites, healthy fats blend, which is coconut oil powder, olive oil powder, MCT powder, flaxseed powder, cocoa butter, fat, and grass-fed ghee.
Okay, so it's
that's
a
not
food
bad.
source. It's not just a protein. It's a food. It's fat and
Right.
protein.
It's 400 calories.
Yeah.
And to that, I'm also adding a whole avocado, a little bit of coconut water, some regular water. You know, you want to kind of get it
Yeah.
watery. Half a cup of blueberries, half a cup of high-fat yogurt.
Yeah. And how are you getting them in? Through the port?
To report.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I tell us, folks, where I'm talking to Dave here about Dave's going through chemo. He's got cancer because no one who's healthy goes through chemo.
And radiation.
And radiation. And, you wait a minute, there's a lot of things in there that you wouldn't agree with. Like Dave doesn't need the vanilla flavor that they put in. I saw vanilla written on the front.
Yeah, I know that. I
Can't
don't
use
have
it
unflavored.
Right. So, but he's eating a food because, as you just heard, he's wasting. He's he's losing weight. So, Dave, anything you could get in.
Oh,
I thought, go on.
Let me show you something I whipped up for dinner, and it's working out great.
Oh, cool.
It's fairly not very attractive, right? This is
I don't know. It kind of looks like a soup I make sometimes.
yeah. It contains a pound of ground beef that has beef heart and beef liver mixed in.
Good.
It has a jar of Anna Vicino's pink crema.
Good.
And I think 8 ounces of beef broth, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I throw this in the blender. It's already been whizzed up.
Anna's pink crema has been known to cure cancer, so that's good.
So this is my dinner.
Yeah, no, dude, you're doing it. You're doing what you got to do. I'm happy for you. So, would you please check in again next time we do another call-in show?
Will do. Yeah.
And how much longer you got to carry that strap around with you with the medicine in it?
It comes off Tuesday.
Good. And is that on the port or is that on the pick line?
I have a port right here.
Oh, so it's just a port. So you use the port for everything. Yeah. Once they put the port in, they usually pull the pick line out. So cool, Dave. More power to you, brother. More power to you, and keep up the great work.
Thanks.
There he goes, folks. That's Dave checking in as he does. Chris.
Yes, sir.
I think that's what we call a show. A song came up in my head a couple of times, and it just came up again in my head when I was talking to Dave right there. So I'm going to play it here at the end of the show. Folks, you know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, go to VinnieTortorich.com, click through the banner, puts a little coal on the fire, gets my train down the track, and I'm able to keep the show free for a gazillion years in a row. I want to thank everyone who was here today. That would be Shelli, Nora, and Dave. And of course, we always want to thank Mr. Chris Shaffer for being here. So on behalf of those folks, we kept saying, I do what I do. And it reminded me of a song from 9.5 Weeks.